Hello and welcome to this channel. This is an original fiction audio image book. If you are new to the channel, you're welcome. Stick around for amazing stories, and if you like our content, please like, share, subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comment section below. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell. The Childhood of the Earth, Chapter 11: The First Battle of the Universe and the Fall of the Dinosaurs. Having finished their sumptuous meal, Anant and his kid-souled friends set out on their way. Instead of walking on a straight plain path, they enjoyed walking on mountainous and uneven potholed paths. They enjoyed their walk. Walking down from the hilly track, they descended onto the plains spread before them. Anant, when would you have holidays in your school of knowledge? Idaro asked eagerly. Chuckling happily, Anant said, just when my studies get over, I'll have holidays in the School of Knowledge. Anant, shall we be able to visit your School of Knowledge? Mori asked. I've been thinking what would happen if I take you to the School of Knowledge, Anant said. However, you have to live your life on the earth for the present. At this time, I can't take you to the School of Knowledge. The school management is already terribly upset with me. Alright, Anant, you may leave for the School of Knowledge. We'll stay here until you want us to, Idaro said, thus as if he was representing all the other kid souls. The path on the earth was about to end. On an apex-like planet ahead was a palatial building. Very well, I'm leaving now, addressing everybody, Anant said. Play peacefully, I'll come back soon. Taking a flying leap, Anant headed for the apex planet. As Anant neared the planet, the palatial building looked larger and larger. 14 pupils stood in the foreground of the school. Those were 7 boys and 7 girls. Standing before them were Blespa and Harit Muni. Anant reached them and after bowing down to his teachers with respect, went and stood at his place. All the students stared at Anant. You are late, Anant, Harit Muni said. Silently, Anant stood there with his head lowered. Then he glanced at Blespa. Anant's 2 fairy friends, Pari and Krisha, gave him a sweet smile. Dear pupils, you have already known that you have been specifically chosen from the saintly world and divine world. There are several cosmoses away from this universe. For a long time, terrible chaos is prevailing there due to the lack of knowledge. Out of those, you have to spread light of knowledge in 14 universes. You are acquiring that knowledge in the school, and now a new subject has been added to your curriculum, the art of battle. I never wanted that you should learn this subject, but now I believe even the Supreme Divine wants this to happen. Everybody was listening to Blespa attentively. First of all, our universe was born, and now a war is going to break out in our universe. Then, several battles will be fought, but a war means one victory, one defeat, and widespread devastation. But this statement is applicable to the earth and not to us. Fight with evils cannot be avoided. Before long, we shall have to engage in a battle with a demon called Hojimoto, and we will have to side Narayan. So are you ready for that thrilling battle? Blespa asked loudly. All the pupils called out loudly in an agreement. Blespa's face reflected mild smile. And talking to Harit Muni, he entered into the building. The pupils too turned towards the staircase, discussing the imminent battle. Pari and Krishna went over to Anant. Hi Anant, how have you been? You had such good long holidays. But how about the syllabus I have missed so far? Anant asked. Oh, I'll help you cover it up, Pari said. And I asked not to venture in the Sophia department. Suddenly, Pari lost her temper. Forget about it, he has come back, Krisha interjected. Narayan must have scolded you a lot, isn't it? Krisha asked. Yes, he did scold me mildly, Anant. But why don't you tell me what has been taught so far? Anant asked. Oh yes, we were taught how our universe should be managed, how to get work done by the creators, how new imaginations and concepts should be developed, and the examples of the creation of the earth and other objects by Omario were explained. After a little pause, Anant said, and we were also explained how man would evolve on the earth and follow the mass destruction of dinosaurs. Learning about the future of the dinosaurs, Anant was distressed. Nevertheless, he controlled his emotions. Come on, Anant, just tell us what have you seen in the Sophia department? Anant said, In the survey department, I saw a book titled Life of the Man. Through that, I entered into the future and saw the human beings. Anand said, as if it was least interesting in narrating his experience. As he felt the encounter with the god of death might be construed as idiotic, he avoided describing it. But with a little apprehension, he said, but the human beings are going to devastate the earth. The man is going to cause terrible harm to other flora and fauna on earth. I just cannot understand how can he do such horrifying acts when he is our fundamental nature. Pari said, the man is likely to be influenced by the demon Hojimoto. That's what Blessed Muni was saying. Krisha asked, but why do you talk of the future ignoring the serious issue of the imminent battle with Hojimoto? This too is a serious issue, Krisha, Anant remarked in a low tone. And yes, I have seen the future of us three. What are you talking, Anant? We three are going to stay back in this universe. Krisha, you are destined to devastate several demons from the face of the earth and protect the deities and mankind from the wrath of demons. You will be worshipped like a mother. Really? Krisha exclaimed. Yes, and Pari, chanting the mantra delivered by you will prove to be a boon for the mankind, Anand said. Pari was excited and she said, now Krisha and I shall work hard for the divine knowledge to ensure we can prove our worthiness to the human masses. You've said it, Pari. Krishna was delighted as she said. But Anant, why don't you tell us about your future? I will be helpful to the deities and the human being and meditate in cold caves of the Himalayas, Anant said. Shall we return to the present? Anant chuckled. If we can destroy Hojimoto in the contemporary battle of the universe, then there shall be no trouble left for the future, Krisha said. Krisha, Pari said, perhaps you haven't understood what Blespa said. Blespa has said that the human beings will be under the influence of Hojimoto. This means even if Hojimoto gets destroyed in the war, his influence would prevail. Pari asked, please tell us more about the future of the mankind. Anant. The man knows about the power of the Supreme Divine, but the man wants to segregate the mankind as well as the Supreme Divine influence into separate religions, caste, creed, and many more such foolish hardiness that will seem laughable to us. You will be able to witness all that in the future. Suddenly, Harit Muni came out. What are you three doing here? Go to your classes of meditation and develop your spiritual power. Yes, Gurudev, saying all the three rushed towards the staircase. We forgot the time of meditation class in our talks, Pari remarked. After a while of a sudden, Blespa Muni walked down from the veranda and came out in the open ground. All the students were summoned together in the ground outside. Addressing everybody, Blespa said, the war may break out at any time. All the deities of the divine world are gathering at the residence of Narayan. We too are required to be present there. But before that, I want all of you to sit in meditation so that you could be completely enlightened about the warfare. Everybody sat down to meditate. Blespa Muni enlightened all the students about the art of warfare through his spiritual power. Are you all ready? Blespa Muni called out aloud. All the pupils called out a yes in a unison. Follow me and ensure to remain together, Blespa said. Everyone was leaving the garden, but evading the attention of the others, Anant dodged behind a tree separated from others. Only Krisha and Pari saw Anant in this act. I just can't understand what this Anant is up to, Krisha whispered to Pari. What has made him act weirdly at such time of crisis? Krisha remarked. Both followed the others. Anant was running through dense bushes. On the devious star at the residence of Narayan, the gods and deities had already arrived and assembled. In the main hall, Narayan was seated on a unique kind of seat. All the other deities were seated around the hall. Mahadevi too was present and she was seated with two of her companions on the left. Omare arrived and took a seat on the right. The unmarried lasses of the deities stared at handsome Omare. Narayan firmly believed that the war was imminent. Addressing the gathering, Narayan said, now the war is impending. Surveying everybody, he continued, we must begin making efforts to blunt the power of Hojimoto. This will be the first ever war of the cosmos. Several ignorant small and large planets, meteors, rocks, comets will form the army of Hojimoto. And I'm ashamed to point out that some of the ignorant deities with greed to rule over the cosmoses are siding with Hojimoto. I expressly request the deities present here to send their children to Gyanvati, the sub-school of the School of Knowledge, and exhort them to study seriously. This is to ensure the prosperous and secure future of you all and the coming generation. Meanwhile, Blespa and Haritmuni arrived, accompanied by their students. All those present in the hall offered their respects to the saintly teachers. Blespa said, "We propose to join the armies accompanied by our students in the battle against Hojimoto. We consider that as our good fortune," Narayan said. Not finding Anant among the students, Madevi was upset, which was also noticed by Narayan and Omarya. But they thought it better not to broach the issue when the conference was on. When all the deities were engaged in one-to-one discussion, Madevi went up to Haritmuni and inquired about Anant. Haritmuni looked around but he could not see Anant. Soothing Madevi, Haritmuni said, "Don't you worry for any reason. Anant will come back. Wherever he is, he will be safe." In order to detect the position of Hojimoto, everybody looked at a large screen placed in the hall. They could observe that Hojimoto was advancing with his army of the planets, creating loud, rumbling noises. Ignorant deities were astride a few small rocks. Nobody had any inclination that Hojimoto would attack so soon. Revealing her understanding, Madevi said, "Before Hojimoto gets any closer, we should engage him up front." Immediately, Omarya said, "We should keep Hojimoto as far as away from the solar system so that the earth does not get affected by the war." "What Omarya says is right," Blespa said. Everybody came out of their building. Through their individual spiritual power, they armed themselves with their choicest weapons. Some of them selected creatures created by Omarya for ride. Some of them flew in the void of the universe. Omarya and the god of death took charge, leading the army. The army of Hojimoto had advanced much beyond into the solar system. Now the armies of Narayan and Hojimoto were almost face to face. The planets, smaller planets, comets were furiously thundering. The atmosphere reverberated with terribly booming and deafening bangs of exploding sounds. The elements living on the earth heard a frightening sound. They were terrified. Looking up in the sky from the planet, they saw a small globe of bright light. They soon realized that something unpleasant was happening. With a signal from Hojimoto, terrific fiery showers of comets were released at Narayan's army. Omarya and the god of death destroyed the fiery fire of comets halfway through. Resembling a massive burning charcoal, Hojimoto was easily identifiable in his army. The ignorant deities clambered up on the rocks and were fighting back with all their might. The powerful rays released from the arsenal of Omarya were able to at a time destroy 10 to 15 comets to dust. Fighting and advancing, Omarya and the god of death closed in on one of the ignorant deities. Before the war broke out, Omarya tried appeasing the ignorant deities fighting on behalf of Hojimoto, but they were all under the influence of Hojimoto. With hardly any option left but to kill them, Omarya attacked and killed all the ignorant deities fighting for Hojimoto. He felt sad at their annihilation, but the god of death consoled him, saying, "You haven't done anything wrong." Hojimoto was absolutely calm, as if he were looking after everything. Krotham and Vopsur were besides him. Whichever large planet was hit by Narayan's lethal powerful strike, it was getting obliterated in the void. Madevi and her companions were moving swiftly from one end to the other, had created havoc among the smaller satellites. All of a sudden, black holes were activated. When Omarya's attention was drawn towards them, he cautioned the god of death and the other deities. The pupils of Blespa were fighting valorously. Using their prowess, they were plunging in the enemy's planets into black holes. The deep black holes swallowed up such planets as if they were hungry for several years. Other deities too were fighting the ignorant deities with their weapons, and at the same time they were coaxing them to leave Hojimoto and return to their fold. Yet, as they were under the overpowering influence of Hojimoto, they were not agreeing. Fighting the battles, Omarya and the god of death rushed very close to Hojimoto. Hojimoto curiously watched them, and abruptly he ordered his army to turn back and flee. Thus, Hojimoto vanished back in the universe accompanied by his army. Everybody heaved a sigh of relief and a pleasant smile spread on their faces. Narayan came over to Omari. Everybody was surprised at how quickly and rapidly Hojimoto left the battlefield. The god of death said, "Half of the army of Hojimoto has been devastated. That's why he will come seeking refuge of Narayan." Soon Blesspa remarked, "Hojimoto is made up of arrogance, anger, jealousy, deceit, and debauchery. He is not the one to accept defeat so soon. Hojimoto has definitely gone to play some trickery. Very soon Hojimoto will return to fight the battle. Hence, instead of falsely imagining about Hojimoto seeking refuge, start preparing for countering his renewed attack." Blesspa's voice was full of apprehension. Meanwhile, rumbling from the distance was heard. Everyone was alerted. But that was Anant who was arriving. He had his Kid Soul friends accompanying him. Everybody stared with awe at Anant, Kid Souls and other animals. The Kid Souls too looked at the others with a sense of wonder. Looking at his mother Mahadevi, an aura of happiness spread on his face. Anant quickly moved towards Mahadevi. Mahadevi too took a couple of steps towards Anant. Taking Anant in her embrace, Mahadevi inquired, "Where did you go, my son?" Pleasantly, Anant said, "Mother, I went to bring along these friends of mine." Bowing down before Narayan and other saints, Anant introduced the Kid Souls to them. Omari hushed. "Anant, where have you come from?" Avoiding eyes of Narayan, Anant said, "When I had been to future, these Kid Souls hid themselves in my study books, disappearing themselves. That's how they came along with me." Looking at the deities, Narayan said, "Now all of you can disperse for some rest, but be alert." Reaching Narayan, Anant said, "My friends and I too want to join you in the battle." Remaining calm for a moment or two, Narayan smiled, casting a glance at the Kid Souls, and said, "Haven't you all come for the war?" As Narayan consented to allow Anant and his friends to join the battle, his joy knew no bounds. Everybody present was astonished by the decision of Narayan. They did not expect such friends of Anant would ever think of joining the battle, and Narayan would so easily grant them permission. Narayan cast an affectionate look on all the Kid Souls and animals. In no time, their looks changed instantly. Now all of them looked neat, healthy, and good-looking. In soldierly uniforms, the young Kid Souls and the children looked like handsome kid soldiers. The animal beasts looked healthy and free of their injuries. Even the trees looked fresh and enlivened. The underdeveloped embryos held by the divine children burst open like air bubbles. Very small kids flew out of them, sweeping their tiny wings all over around. Everyone around became glad to see such a pleasant scenario. The eyes of Modi and her friends were filled with tears of joy. All the Kid Souls reverently bowed down before Narayan and stared at him with a sense of gratitude. On the other hand, Hojimoto and his army were stationed at one spot in the universe. Terribly agitated, Hojimoto was pacing up and down. When he looked at his image in a mirror-like object, he was reminded of Narayan, Omari and their companions. He then directed his gaze at the wicked deities sitting in his camp. Hojimoto said, "I want to have a look and form like all of you. This is possible for me as well as for the other planets." The leader of the wicked deities replied in a frightened tone, "Everything is possible for you." Hojimoto moved up from his spot and once again stood steadily before the mirror. This time, instead of fiery red globe, he saw an image of dangerously looking demon. Hojimoto idiotically stared at his own image in the mirror. He got confused a bit. Possibly, he didn't even expect himself to look like that. At that time, Hojimoto heard a mysterious voice. "This is your original image." Hojimoto appeared before his army. All the planets stared awestruck at Hojimoto. Hojimoto growled loudly. "Why are you all looking at me so stupidly? I am Hojimoto. I will grant you such image." Hojimoto converted a planet into a bizarre, dangerous, demonic animal and made its own vehicle. Using his power, Hojimoto converted several planets, meteors, small and large rocks into small and massively large giants. He converted a few other planets into dangerously giant animals. All the giants roared violently. Narayan and his army heard their echoing shout and they were alerted. Hojimoto summoned the leaders of the Torozome groups, Grotham and Vopsur, to have a confidential discussion. They asked them not to join the army. When both the demons asked the reason for his decision, Hojimoto explained to them in hushed tones his plan, and they both agreed. In the battlefield of the cosmos, Anant and Kit Souls too joined Narayan's army. From the opposite direction, a pale red light was gradually increasing. Looking at it, Omare shouted, "Get ready! Hojimoto is returning!" Hojimoto was advancing with his army at a rapid pace. Watching Hojimoto advance and his army in new shape and image, the god of death asked, "Who is that?" "That's Hojimoto," Blespa Muni said. "Having watched us, Hojimoto has tried to develop an outward appearance of himself and his army, but he could only get his giant's image. In future, Hojimoto may acquire miraculous powers and adopt any form and image." Omare shouted, "Not to worry, Gurudev. Let Hojimoto meet us in the battlefield in any form. We will always counter him effectively." Everybody cheered with Omare. Anant made a lion as his vehicle. Golichiji and Fokyo sat astride a tiger, and Mori and Gomindi sat on massive rhinoceros. Looking at Anant, Fokyo said in a low voice, "We had several such giants in our scriptures." "Hojimoto is his ancestor," Gomindi said. "Be quiet, this is a great war," irritably Mori said. Hojimoto's army was much closer now. Both the armies stood facing each other. With a sarcastic look, Anant bellowed, "Hojimoto, get lost from here, else you will be killed." Mahadevi looked at Anant with pride. Letting out a wild hysterical laugh, Hojimoto shouted back, "Anant, I'm not going anywhere. All other cosmoses are much more powerful, where I cannot be born. Your universe is weak, that's why I'm here."
"Our universe is weak?" Anant was perplexed hearing that.
Loudly, Blespa called out, "Don't pay any attention to whatever Hojimoto talks. Anant, that's his trick to spread confusion. He aims to break the willpower of his opponents by spreading such lies. Don't doubt the power of Supreme Divine. These are all his divine plays." "Attack!" Hojimoto roared. The demons moved forward fiercely towards the opponents. Omare and the god of death too rushed forward bravely. Behind them, Anant made his lion run. Agile Anant wielded his brightly glittering weapon and with one sweep beheaded 7-8 demons. The god of death flung 4 demons high up in the sky. The deep black wells were activated once again. Anant's lion pounced on a ferocious demon and crushed him to ground. Immediately, Anant pierced his weapon and forehead in the demon. Golichiji and Mori encouraged the demons to run after them up into the deep black holes and then dodged them. And the demons vanished into the wells. Anant had instructed them to keep distance from the wells. 2 to 3 tigers and lions used to pounce on the giants. They would tear apart their bellies with their sharp nails. The students of the School of Knowledge were combating with the demons valorously. Pari and Krisha too were cutting off the limbs of the giants. They were chivalrously thwarting all the attacks of the giants. 18 to 20 Kid Souls would cling to a demon and pierce his eyes, ears, nose with sharp weapons. Omare lifted a demon, swung him and lunged him at other giants, which resulted in destruction of 8 to 10 demons. Not a single ignorant deity survived. Mahadevi and her companions selectively hit wicked deities and killed them. In no time, chaos took over the army of Hojimoto. Suddenly, Mori was caught by a gigantic demon. Hit by the nasty hand of the demon, Mori cried painfully and began to stumble. Listening to her cries, Anant rushed at the spot and slashed the giant into 3 pieces. Looking at Mori's condition, Gomindi, Fokyo, and Gochiliji were bewildered. Anant took Mori in his lap. In a low voice, Mori said, "His strike was so brutal, I can't open my eyes. Hope Gomindi is well." Blespa reached them. He affectionately moved his hand across Mori's body and soon she was relieved of all pains. A new vigor rushed through her. Everybody was relieved. Seeing Mori injured, anger of Anant knew no bounds. He growled so loudly that the entire universe reverberated. Lifting the giant demons one by one, Anant threw them into black holes. Watching Anant's act, the demons were frightened. On the other hand, Narayan wielded his sword-like weapon with one swipe and beheaded a gigantic animal on which Hojimoto was riding. Seeing that, Hojimoto's anger erupted like a volcano. Jumping high in the air, Hojimoto pounced towards Narayan. Alerted, Narayan dodged his attack. All of a sudden, grave rumbling and booming sounds were heard from the universe. Everybody's heart skipped a beat. All stopped fighting. In a distance, from high up, a colossal dark cloud was seen descending over the army of Hojimoto. Apprehension spread over the ugly face of Hojimoto. Mahadevi was visibly pleased. She called out aloud, "Labro is coming! Omarya, get our army! Step back!" At the order of Omarya, their army began retreating away from the spot. Narayan cast an appreciative glance at Mahadevi. He didn't say anything but thanked her with his eyes. With deep hatred in his eyes, Hojimoto glared at them. Hojimoto had realized the grimness of the situation. He knew his end was in sight. Hojimoto cruelly looked at the earth in a far distance and he threw a demon, converting him into a small planet at the earth with all his might. Omare and Anant saw that. They rushed behind the planet as fast as they could. Labro engulfed Hojimoto and his army, screeching and shouting. Demons were sucked up into the horrendous mouth of the ravenously hungry Labro. Rushing behind the planet, heading towards the earth, Omare told Anant, "To avoid the collision, we must alter the path of this planet." Anant agreed with Omare, but both knew that their act of dislodging the planet from its course was a wasted effort. They had missed by a few seconds. An atmosphere of fright spread on the earth. The dinosaurs realized their end was in sight. Omare's image appeared before them in the sky. Addressing them, he said, "My dear dinosaurs, don't worry a bit, you won't suffer pain." Worriedly, a dinosaur took a couple of steps forward and said, "But we all will be obliterated from the face of the earth. We love this earth very much." With grief-stricken and heavy voice, Omare said, "You will have much better life again on this planet Earth. You will be reborn as birds on the earth." A couple of drops of tears rolled down Omare's eyes and fell on the earth in the form of rains. With a heavy heart, Omare left the place. All the efforts of Anant trying to stop the hurtling planets failed. Following the dictates of the destiny, the planet entered into the atmosphere of the earth. Its size was reduced because of the resistance it received from the earth's atmosphere. It collided the earth with a loud bang and bright light. After swallowing all the demons of Hojimoto's army, Labro turned its attention at Narayan's army. As if nothing happened, Labro increased its pace. Narayan alerted his army. Watching the frightful look of Labro, everybody was awestruck. They were about to be sucked up forcefully into the massive, dark deep jaws of Labro, but soon Polostono appeared at the spot. He held Labro from his tail and immediately Labro turned placid. Once again, Polostono made a bundle of Labro and carried him on the back. Everybody present looked tiny before the huge size of Polostono. Everybody around was breathless. As soon as Mahadevi was seen, Polostono greeted her. Graciously, Polostono said, "Mahadevi, has your work finished for which Labro was sent here?" Mahadevi replied, "Yes, son. Labro did help us by swallowing up all the demons, but then he was advancing towards us. But at the nick of the moment, you caught him." Feeling ashamed of Labro's attitude, Polostono said, "I beg your pardon for Labro's imprudence."
Welcoming him, Narayan said, "Polostono, since you have come here, please give us the privilege to welcome you at our residence."
Polostono replied graciously, "I am grateful for your invitation, but I must leave now. In no time, Labro will become hungry. He may cause some damage in your universe. That's why I must leave, taking Labro along with me." Polostono took their leave. Thank you guys for watching this video. For more videos, you can visit our channel. Please like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to turn on the notifications. Comment your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll catch you in the next part. Till then, bye.